Hello, you're listening to the BBC World Service. I'm Matt Pintus, and this is Witness History. Today, there was something in the air that night. The stars were bright. A band grew. In 1974, the Swedish band ABBA Waterlooed their way to Eurovision victory in England. And 50 years on, millions of people around the world say thank you for the music from the group that became one of the most recognisable acts of all time. So be a super trooper, take a chance on me, and gimme, gimme, gimme your ears for the next 8 minutes as I go through the BBC archives and speak to the person who arguably knows ABBA better than anyone else in the world.
A very good evening to you, and from me, David Vine, welcome to the Eurovision Song Contest of 1974.
It's the 6th of April 1974 in the seaside resort of Brighton in southern England.
It was so tense. I was so nervous that I hardly remember anything other than, do you remember that I had to stand up in the bus going from the hotel to the arena because my trousers were too tight?
Yeah, I remember that very well.
That's Benny Andersson and Arne Frid-Lyngstad, two members of Sweden's entry for Eurovision, ABBA. They aren't too hopeful about their chances in the European music competition.
I was hoping for like number 7 or something, you know, that would have been good too.
You know, we were so focused on what we were going to do, so you don't have any space in your mind for anything else.
They've decided to sing in English, a song about French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte and the 1815 Battle of Waterloo.
Ever since Elvis Presley, I think it's absolutely the best language to sing pop in.
You know, born in Sweden, or in my case Norway, it was a very small country at that time. And if you wanted to get away or if you wanted to thrive, then you had to look for other sources to get out.
And thrive they did. On that night in the Brighton Dome, Waterloo was about to change their lives forever. ABBA formed in Stockholm in 1972. There were 4 members: the shaggy-haired Björn, the bearded Benny, the blonde Agneta, and the brunette Frida. Agneta was married to Björn, and Benny was with Frida.
We used it in the office, and then it became official. It was easy to say ABBA than Björn, Benny, Agneta, and Frida all the time.
That's Jorel Hansa. She's ABBA's current manager, and she's been with the band since day one.
ABBA is also a very well-known herring factory in Sweden.
Yep, you heard that right. The band would share their name with a famous Swedish seafood company, which had existed since the 19th century.
They didn't mind. They sent us a big box of herrings. I think they've been proud of the name during the years.
Jorel wasn't with the band in Brighton when they won Eurovision. She was back at HQ. She was working on an action plan.
We have buttons to press to get everything moving. A couple of days later, they came into the office and everything was as usual.
Oh, really? So nothing had changed?
No, I don't think. I mean, we were all so happy and I think also a bit taken by the victory in Brighton. But it was more like, now we have to work, we have to use this and do our best and get everything so that everyone can jump on the wagon and be with us.
Here's Björn and Agneta speaking to the BBC about their busy schedule, just days after winning Eurovision in 1974.
Yes, we're doing Top of the Pops, and we're flying to Hamburg tomorrow morning to do TV, and then back for a short rest during the weekend in Sweden.
It strikes me that a lot of money is going to come rolling in now that...
Is there? That's nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
really.
What would you like to do with it now that perhaps things are coming in internationally for you? What about conquering more foreign markets? I mean,
Yes. The dream is the United States, of course.
are there plans in store to go to America soon?
Yes, if we conquer the British market, because that's the first thing, really.
Will the day ever come where, do you think, that Swedish pop takes over Europe?
I'm afraid not, no.
Björn should have had more self-confidence, because by 1977, ABBA were more than dominating in just Europe. They'd gone global. They had a #1 album in the UK and a coveted US #1 single. To give you an idea of just how popular they were, They had 3.5 million requests for tickets for their 2 shows at London's Royal Albert Hall that year, and that was enough to fill the venue 580 times. Here's Jarell again.
During the years when they were at the top all over the world, I think being a celebrity in Sweden is much easier than, for example, in England. They can go to the grocery, they can go everywhere without people bothering them. So we didn't really think of them as the great world stars that they actually were.
When you think of ABBA songs now from that period, which one sticks out as that's going to be a real showstopper?
Dancing Queen. I don't remember exactly when I heard it the first time, but I remember when it entered the Billboard charts in the US when it was #1. Then we had champagne in the office the whole day.
But success doesn't always mean happiness, and by the start of the 1980s, both couples had separated. It was the beginning of the end for ABBA.
Like they grew together, they also grew apart because they wanted to do separate things. They didn't say, we're going to stop, we're going to end with ABBA. They said, well, let's take a break, let's take a pause, and we do these things. The girls wanted to do solo albums. Björn and Benny started to think of writing a musical, and they started to work together with Tim Rice. We were waiting for them to get together again, more or less.
But that wait would go on and on and on. That was until 1999, at Jarell's 50th birthday celebration.
They were invited, and I didn't know that they were going to sing a Swedish birthday song to me. I think they rehearsed in the bathroom before. I mean, they apparently had talked about it, they wanted to do something. And then there was a small stage. That was great. And a big surprise it was.
Is it true that at the turn of the century, so 2000, ABBA turned down an offer of $1 billion to perform again?
Yes, they did.
Wow. So I'm assuming that came through your office.
It's hard to believe. But they talked about it. But it wasn't something that you could persuade them to do because they didn't want to go on tour again. So it's not a question of money. And I think that money has never been the drive to them. The drive has been to write good songs, to produce them, to make good performances. But the most important thing is not the money.
In 2018, ABBA shocked the world by going back to the studio for the first time in 44 years.
It was very moving. It was really very moving. I think all of us were nearly crying. But at the same time, it took just a few minutes, and then we were back to the old days. Everyone knew what to do. They were all very relaxed. They were all very happy to be there again.
The studio time resulted in ABBA Voyage, a state-of-the-art purpose-built venue in London where fans flocked to see a hologram show of all of ABBA's biggest hits. But could it soon be moving?
I don't see it moving worldwide, but I see it moving to certain places.
Oh, really? Because I live in Manchester. Would you bring it to Manchester?
No, you will have to come to London.
Oh, I have to go to London. So where are you thinking elsewhere in the world?
Australia has always been a very ABBA-friendly, exciting country. So maybe.
Jarell Hanse continues to manage ABBA from her home in Stockholm. She was speaking to me, Matt Pintus, for Witness History.